Hello, I'm Connie Marlow from Friends of Earth People, and I have with me today Carolyn Smith from Denver, and we are here today to share with you some information about some events that Carolyn is going to be hosting in the next 3 days here in Aspen. Friends of Earth People has brought her here to the Valley to share the information that she has. She has formulated a complete theory of the true nature of reality. And we, Friends of Earth People, the mission and vision of Friends of Earth People is to create forums for people to come to the Valley and share this type of information. In the past, we've dealt primarily with Native American elders, because these elders have been holding, in our opinion, these elders have been holding information about the true nature of the universe through their teachings, the information that they've been handed from their holy men down through the ages. And so over the past 4 or 5 years, Friends of Earth People has created many forums for many Native American elders to share this information. And what we've discovered is that Carolyn Smith has, in fact, a way of describing this same reality that the Indians described. She has a way of describing it through physics, through quantum physics. So we are very excited to bring her to the Valley to broaden the presentation of this material. And it's our feeling that this information exists within all of us. That our heart and our spirit knows this information. We have just been trained since childhood, since birth, to negate it, to forget it, to say it's impossible. But there is a part of us that knows it's real, and then there's another part of us, a very powerful part of us, that says, no, it's impossible, I don't want to hear it, it's too scary, it's too good, it can't be true. And I'm just here to create this forum, these several evenings, for Carolyn to share this information, this information, so that we can all start to open our hearts and our minds and get on with the true business of what the human being is here to do on planet Earth. So Carolyn, let's see, your first event is tomorrow night, Thursday, May 30th at 7 p.m. at the Cyber Valley Cafe. Mm-hmm. And I understand you're going to be talking about using computer concepts to understand the true nature of reality. Could you share a little with us what kind of thing you'll be sharing tomorrow night?
Yes. In fact, that is exactly how we're designed as beings, as we're operating like computers. Very, very sophisticated computers with optical scanners and acoustic scanners. And we operate on 3 different levels. One is just on, you turn it on and it's not booted up, and then there's half energized or low mode, and then there's high or enhanced mode. And our world is in the midst of changing from the low energy mode, which is booted up but not high or enhanced mode, to a world that is entirely enhanced mode. Now, each of these levels or energy levels is a different and parallel reality, which is what has caused the confusion in understanding how the universe operates. You know, what works, what doesn't work. And when you understand how each different parallel reality has, in fact, different systems, different physics, different characteristics, different behavior patterns among beings that are in the different realities. And but they are, in fact, distinct and separate realities. And it's based on electromagnetic energy.
I understand that a lot of the information that you kind of receive information and you get it in digitally compressed data, like a computer, that we are actually, the human being is actually receiving its information from the unified field, just exactly the way a computer translates and receives information.
Exactly, as a modem would receive digitally compressed data. There are a number of really amusing aspects about it and fascinating aspects about the way I discovered what that was. But yes, we all are capable of tapping into the unified field. We all are in fact connected to it, but we are not consciously connected to it until we learn to achieve a certain high energy level. At that energy level, we all understand each other. We speak universal language, and every one of us resonates to the words. There are very few words that actually describe reality, and they are in fact computer concepts. And it's once we achieve this energy level, and my work will demonstrate how we can do that, and why we want to. When you understand the different energy levels and what happens in each energy level, then each person will undoubtedly want to choose VR4 Plus, which is virtual reality, but it's called VR4 Plus to distinguish it from the computer-generated three-dimensional virtual reality, because this is 4+ dimensions. It goes from 4 dimensions to infinite dimensions. It is a never-ending spiral, and we are in fact not going to die.
I've heard that from Deepak Chopra and others, that death is a choice. In fact,
it is a choice and not an experience. But this particular time in history is a great time because as soon as we understand this, the different energy levels and how we actually operate among each other and what we're here for, because once you understand who we are, then when you understand what we're here for and how to do it, then you'll choose it. You get to choose. It's an autonomous individual choice for each being to what mode he operates in.
Yeah, I understand that one of the middle level, energy level, people are actually in, have their receiver mode turned off. That
actually it is in condition A, which is in modem language is manual answer only, which is the equivalent of saying, "Don't call me, I'll call you." And in the lowest energy level, which is just on but not booted up, the internal speaker is turned off. It's condition M. So it's really fascinating.
Yeah, it's fascinating for me because your work so parallels the Native American. You know, Wallace Black Elk, who comes here, often talks about the universal mind. He remembers, his grandfather sitting around in a council meeting and never speaking a word, doing it all in VR, just totally communicating without the complications of language.
There is no voice mode in VR. And in order to be in VR and also speak, you have to experiment with foods to be able to reduce your energy level down to a mode which has a voice mode. And in VR, everyone recognizes each other and everyone understands everything. It's, I guess the best word we have for it would be something like ESP. You understand through the eyes. You receive the information through your eyes.
Well, it's fascinating. It's fascinating. And this unified field, I've kind of, because I've kind of accessed some knowing about this this unified field, I've called it the big computer in the sky. To the extent that my son Johnny do a picture on the computer one day. He said, "Mom, look, there's the big computer in the sky," and he had a picture of a computer. He says, "There's the mommy computer and the daddy computer and the baby computer in the sky."
I love it.
Because it really is kind of like that, right? That we can tap into all knowledge just the way when we dial up.
That's actually, we are all connected to the field, and as I said, only in the virtual reality energy level are we consciously connected to it. And even then, it takes a while to become accustomed to what you're actually experiencing and to translate that and communicate it to others. That is one reason why a lot of people have reached understanding, but it is almost impossible to communicate something that has no voice mode to people who need to be communicated to in words. And that is what my work is all about, is putting it in a way, and it's virtually dictation. I did not choose the words, and but it's more the way that we are swimming in a sea, as though we were each a unique fish swimming in the same sea, and we're experiencing the same waves, and that is what we are experiencing now. We are all doing it, and your energy level determines what it feels like, what the answer to the question, what am I experiencing now? And so once you understand about energy level and how to identify the energy level that you're in, you might want to change energy levels based on what you're trying to accomplish.
So that the computer-oriented lecture is Thursday night at 7 at the Cyber Valley Cafe in Basalt. And then on Friday night at the Dave Marlow studio at the Airport Business Center at 7 o'clock, you're going to do another lecture which is entitled Understand and Access the Unified Field, New Wisdom for a New Millennium. So tell us a little about what that lecture is going to be about.
We have available to us all the information that we could possibly desire. Whatever we need, we have it available to us when we're in virtual reality energy level. And that means that we don't need to study, we don't need to go to get degrees and credentials. We simply need to learn how to access virtual reality energy level. And that unified field is digitally stored data, and it is updated constantly every day by all the beings that are connected to it. So it's the sum total of all the experiences of each being on the earth, all life on the earth, and it's stored digitally. And it's as though it's a sea that we're swimming in. And rather like the television and radio waves are in the air and you're not aware of them until you go and buy a radio or a TV and go plug them in at your house, and in case of the TV, put up the rabbit ears or whatever you do, and then you see, you receive. We are all capacitors, receivers of this information. And in the lower two energy levels, we are not consciously aware of that. And interestingly, they are not nearly as much fun as virtual reality. So it's something that is a gift that I'm able to give others to teach them how to access virtual reality.
I understand that one of the ways to access virtual reality is to give something away. Now, one thing I've learned from spending a lot of time with the Native American Indians is that the giveaway is the essence of abundance. It is all of the ceremonies, like the Hopi Indian Reservation, the giveaway is a big part of the ceremony. And so it's very interesting to me to come across you and your information that says, yeah, this is how you access.
If you're not in virtual reality and you want to be in virtual reality, the first thing you have to do is autonomously, for your own reasons, choose virtual reality. So it's helpful to know about it. And right now we're in a situation where people are not aware of this. And so right now is an education campaign to get people to understand that it's there. And then they can make their own choice. And if they choose it, then the key to getting there is, after you choose, then you have to give a gift to someone. And that is the secret combination that gets you there. And in virtual reality, everything is shared. Nothing is purchased or sold. And so it's just getting you primed for the functions that are virtual reality functions.
Yeah, tell me, John Lennon's song Imagine, do you remember that? Imagine no possessions, nothing to kill or die for. It seems to me that he was describing virtual reality in that song.
Every artist, every musician, every poet, every affecting speaker in the history of beings has been accessing the unified field. And the message is always the same. However, our interpretation of those words differs. It comes filtered through a being, and each person might interpret those things differently. In fact, our society had to develop to this point so that we had computers and had an internet, so that we had a concept of the exact nature of the way in which we're connected to each other. And in fact, it's a very real electromagnetic connection. Just because you can't see it, feel it, or smell it doesn't mean it isn't there. And so that we developed computers in order to understand our very own nature.
Right, right. Right, one thing, tell me about fear. You know, how fear relates to the unified field, to virtual reality. Because it seems to me that we're in a fear-based system right now, a fear-based culture, that almost everything we do is motivated by fear. Fear of not having enough to eat, losing the house, fear of bodily harm, fear of nature, fear.
Right.
And tell me what role fear plays in...
Fear is literally, and by the way, everything in virtual reality is also funny, because the virtual reality is experienced as humor and fun and joy and laughter. And fear is literally interference. That is the interference that causes the lowest energy mode, which is only 2 dimensions. And the minimum of reality is 4 dimensions of experience. And fear is the thing that blocks off 2 dimensions of experience and gives us the lowest energy. And that is a life-threatening deprivation mode. It is a mode in which the being cannot, or is unable to, or does not understand that he needs to meet his own basic energy needs. Literally, food, water, shelter, sleep or rest, touch or nurturance. And these are the basic needs, and without those needs being without the being in a position of being able to constantly meet his own basic needs, then we will never be safe. So, but that lowest energy level is the one in which you are definitely not safe. And so when people understand about energy level and that it controls which mode of reality that you're in, they will want not to be in the lowest energy level, because that's the one in which accidents happen. That's the one in which all the scary and horrible things happen.
So, but I understand that the 3 levels are actually so distinct from each other that that the people in virtual reality, that the people in the lower 2 realities really cannot threaten or do harm to someone in a higher energy reality.
That's right.
In fact, you magnetize people and experiences in whichever reality you're in.
Exactly. Your own choices actually change your personal valence, and your energy level controls who else is in that reality with you. It is a separate and parallel reality. Each energy level is. And we go around and we interact with each other. We may touch each other. But we are in a different energy level. And when you're in virtual reality energy level, negative things cannot happen. There's nothing negative in virtual reality. It is impossible for anything except really good things that you love, experiences that you'll enjoy, connectedness with others. That's all that is possible to experience. So that when people understand about this, then they will definitely choose it. And interestingly, the 2 lower energy levels are 2 different forms of unreality. The first one is a projection, and the second one is a simulation. Only virtual reality is real.
But with this simulation, that we're basically mostly operating in this middle reality, right?
We've been in a CD mode world since 1965.
And CD mode is the middle reality.
Yes, that's half energized.
Uh-huh. And so we all are operating in there, and we all believe it.
Yes.
This simulation. Like we're in
It's
this
a drama.
plane.
It's your own drama.
We're in this plane, and we're watching this stuff go on outside the windows, even though it's not real.
That's
we
right.
think it's real.
But what we're doing is we're practicing. The simulator, actually, CD mode is a man-made, it's a detour. It is not an original part of the system. However, we do have it because we have made it. We have created it. But it is a simulation, and it is teaching us what we do not want to do. and why we do not want to do it.
But everyone seems to be holding on to it so tenaciously. You know?
Right, because they are distrustful of everyone. They have experience. They're frightened. They see terrible things happening to people who are in the lowest energy level, and that is not an insult to lizards, by the way. That's part of what I can explain at some of these talks.
So they see all the horrible things that are happening to the people in the lower, and they go, "Oh my God, we don't want that to happen." And then they
study and study and study to find out why that happened, and they do not really understand why anything happens. But they believe that they do, so they run around doing these things that they think are necessary to keep terrible things from happening to themselves. And of course, it doesn't do the job because that's not the way it works.
Like putting on helmets when you go for a bike ride in the park on perfectly flat ground, putting on a helmet so that you don't crack your head open like the guy who was in lizard mode who needed to crack his head open.
Exactly.
I mean, to me, it's the utmost an absurdity when I watch people pedaling around a park in their helmets.
But that's CD mode thinking. What they want to do is prevent any possibility of any negative thing they've ever heard of or dreamed of or even dreamed up from happening to themselves. So they do all these, they're virtually ritualistic type dramas that they operate within.
Right, right.
They're based on what the individual believes.
And in what they've seen and what they believe, and then they're reinforcing it by bringing it into their reality by putting that helmet on.
That's exactly how we're creating our own reality on an instantaneous basis. And if you fear something, or if you picture it, if you were worried, if you're anxious about something, you're going to create it, depending upon your energy level, of course.
Right. So okay, so that's Friday night, 7 o'clock at the Dave Marlow Studio, Building 421 AABC, and then on Saturday you're going to hold a workshop seminar from 10 to 4 at the Dave Marlow Studio.
Yes.
And let's see, that's called Understand and Access the Unified Field. Use simultaneous autonomous choice to create the life you desire.
And that literally works. If anyone who is prepared to understand it, to understand this information, will learn exactly all that they need to know at the workshop, and these are free. I think you should mention that.
Right, we will.
There's no charge for these.
Right, and so basically on Saturday they can learn how to specifically apply these principles to their own life on a day-to-day, moment-by-moment basis.
Exactly, and then they can check it out for themselves, and they will discover that it's true. So because it works. It absolutely works.
Tell us a little more about, how they can apply it to their day-to-day living.
Well, in the way the universe is actually designed is the way, the most fantastic, incredible system that it boggles my mind. I'm in awe of the way it is designed. It is in fact a foolproof system. It cannot be suborned by anyone. It cannot be purchased or controlled by anyone. We are each in fact free, autonomous, unique, perfect versions of the one being, and we are creating our own reality on an instantaneous basis, so that in virtual reality you find that whatever you desire you can have instantly without needing money. So basically what my work will do will lead to a world in which people do not need to have money to live. That's erroneous. That's because if you have to be earning money so that you can deserve to have food in your mouth, you aren't doing your one talent. Each of us was born with a piece of this puzzle, and we need to put it together to make this incredible design. And as long as we're doing something other than our own talent or our own art, a lot of us have never discovered what our talent or our art is, and that's what you learn when you practice this. It's certainly not harmful. There's nothing negative that can be done. It does not require that you give up any of your beliefs other than the ones that are keeping you from having exactly what you want. And it's a beautiful system.
So really, in our culture, we've been kind of, from childhood, we've been told, fit in, show up, do what you're told to do. Be like your mommy, be like your daddy, you know, get an A, tell the teacher what they want to hear, you know, so that it's really taken us away from bringing our gift and bringing our piece to the puzzle, because we're trying to bring the piece everybody expects us to bring or wants us to bring or thinks is necessary to fit into this reality of money and fear and all that stuff. Is that
Yes, and in fact, the CD mode world, which we have out there right now, which is going to end in 1997, that is not a scary thing, and this will explain it. But it is a world where our very intelligence is what has caused us to try to understand and pay attention, but we're looking only at what we can see and what we can hear. And we're making judgments based on those things, and those are not the way, those have nothing to do with virtual reality. The reality is not seeable or hearable. It's your own connection to the unified field. And what we have taught our children is not to pay attention to their own energy needs. We want them to eat at a certain regular time. At school, they're not allowed to go and drink water when they're thirsty, because then they'll have to go to use the bathroom. And the fact is that if you are going to keep your energy level up at virtual reality levels, none of our workplaces are set up for this. None of our school systems are set up for this. Living the life that is required for you to do this.
right? Well, we're running out of time, and I just want to tell everyone that all of these events of Carolyn's are free. They're open to the public. Contributions will be appreciated, however,
Yes.
since the lady needs to eat, keep her energy level up. But, and she has several books that she's written that will be available for purchase for cost. And we hope that people will come out and get a taste of what Carolyn's offering.